Now, this illustration deals with the depth of working space. In accordance with NEC 110.26A1, Condition 1, which is Table 110.26A1, we must review also. Now, notice the depth of the equipment is based upon the condition 1, 2, or 3, those conditions. Now, notice this condition 1 behind the worker's back is an insulated wall, condition 1, underneath the table 110.26A1. And notice for voltages of 120, 122.08, 122.40, 277.480, for example, we only need a 3-foot clearance. But notice one other thing that must be reviewed is transformers involved. Sometimes we misread this and make a bad interpretation. Notice that transformers are not foreign to the dedicated workspace for the equipment, which is above the electrical equipment you see in the diagram. But to make sure that we're providing the appropriate clearances and working and location and installation of transformers, we would review in the boxed in information title transformer if present. We would look at 450.10, we'd have to have the appropriate grounding and guarding. 450.13 A and B divides that transformer into 112.5 kVA or less, or over 112.5 kVA. And then 450.14 we'll see as we get into this presentation where a disconnect is required for the transformer. It could be the disconnect in the service equipment on the primary side. It could be a disconnect located within 50 foot of the transformer's primary side, or this distance, could be greater than 50 foot with a label on the transformer identifying where the primary disconnecting means would be located. 450.21 A and B talks about the size of the transformers, as I just mentioned. And 450.13 A and B, let's make sure we understand what that's requiring. It's just allowing the transformer to be mounted on the floor next to the equipment, mounted above the equipment, or mounted above a suspended ceiling in some cases, as we will see as we get on into the presentation. And then for 50.9, it does not matter where we install that transformer, we must install it in such a manner that ventilation can be provided that will carry off the heat of the transformer as we load it up and dissipate the heat away from the transformer windings. Now, that's the main thing about the 5 bullets that you see under the title head, transformer if present. Now, if we're dealing with arc flash conditions, then we know 110.16 requires a label to warn the electrical worker of a arc flash condition could be present inside this equipment when it's energized. And then notice we list for you in this work in figure 5-32 just exactly the calculation procedure. To the right now, notice for calculations of the available short circuit current, really, 110.24 A and B requires the designer of the service equipment to provide the available short circuit current at the equipment. And we're going to find this is kind of very important when we get into providing the appropriate labeling of 110.16 and 110.24 as we go through this presentation. But as a little summary now of figure 5-2, the depth of the working space in accordance with 110.26A1, condition 1, and also using table 110.26A1, conditions are based upon the voltage and what is behind the worker's back while they are working and servicing that equipment. Now, be sure as the designer, installer, or inspector that we fully understand this. Now, I'm not saying you don't, I'm just saying make sure that we're on the same page here about condition 1, and now we're going to move on into condition 2 with the next illustration.